I'm standing up and I'm telling you, I am Warhol. I am the number one most impactful.
All right, welcome to another episode of The Writer's Corner. Today I have a special guest with me, Mr. Old Man Stones. He's an old head in the Melbourne hip-hop scene. He's been doing shit around here for a long time. How many years have you been active in the Melbourne scene?
Not really in the scene, but making beats and writing rhymes and recording, that sort of thing. I reckon I probably made my first beat by the time I was 18, and I'm 38 now, so that's like, 20 years? Been making beats and writing rhymes, on and off.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I've got a couple of your recent projects. Are these both unreleased, aren't they?
Yeah.
So this was your solo EP, The Gentleman's Lost Control.
This gentleman's lost control, yeah, when I went a bit manic.
Is that a reference to a rock and roll lyric or something?
No. Just because I'm a gentleman and I was going out of control, it's not really gentleman-like.
Yeah, okay.
So,
okay. Yeah, when that drops, make sure you check that out. It's got some fucking dope beats and some really relevant sort of, would you say conscious raps? Conscious rhymes?
There's a theme of madness definitely running through the whole EP.
So unconscious rhymes.
Well, I just kind of wrote them and wrote them to some beats and recorded them, and then realized that they're all sort of talking about mental illness and personal growth, personal development, my way of getting through that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, dope. And your other EP, where is it? This one.
The one with Rooker?
The Rooker collab. What's it called?
Hook It Up.
Hook It Up. When that drops, make sure you check that out.
It's coming out of the washing machine, yeah, with the Wu-Tang hat on.
And that photo's by Emerald, isn't it?
Emerald did that, yeah.
And the other EP that was mastered by Monkey Mark, is that right?
One was mastered by Monkey Mark.
Or mixed. Was it mixed by Monkey Mark?
Mixed and mastered, yeah.
Oh, really?
I got him to mix and master it, and the Hook It Up, the one with Rooker, one of Rooker's friends mixed and mastered that.
Oh, yeah.
His name's Tom Warbo, yeah.
Dope. And I was just checking out, you gave me this CD a while ago, one of your old projects. When's this from?
That's an old project, around 2015. I think we finished it in 2016, yeah. That one is up on Spotify under Telekinetic Phonetics, and there might be the one we made before that up on Bandcamp, I think, or SoundCloud, but...
Dope. So yeah, I'll make sure I drop all the links for Old Man Stones' music in the comment section for this video. I mean in the video description.
That one has a lot of different artists on it. This one, there's a lot of collaborations and a lot of people, and yeah.
Nice. So how's music going lately? What are you working on?
I've got a bunch of different collaborations I'm trying to tie up. It's hard. I don't really want to start whole, 6-track EPs or albums anymore. It's too much to tie together at the end, but I've got a track with you and a few others.
Yeah.
Going to, finally get all the pieces together and put them out one by one, I think is the key, rather than trying to do multitask when you're mixing a bunch of tracks. It's just focus on the first thing at a time, man. That's the first rule of Zen, apparently. Just try to focus on the next step, yeah.
Do one thing at a time until it's done. Yeah, dope. So, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but what I'm mostly interested in is what got you into rapping? What made you want to rap?
So, listening to in high school, I suppose, or I was exposed to Cypress Hill, Wu-Tang, old school East Coast hip hop and West Coast, and I always much preferred the East Coast stuff with the hypedness of the rappers and the funky beats and yeah.
Dope. East Coast, my geography is always fucked up.
From the 90s, I'm talking Das FX, KRS-One,
oh, yeah,
Wu-Tang. I think Cypress are from the West Coast, but yeah.
Right, the original boom bap kind of sound, the
definitely,
high energy shit.
Yeah, well...
The KRS-One shit. So do you have a top 10 MCs or like?
I could probably give you a top 5
Yeah.
from all around the world. So I love Chester P
Yeah.
from the UK and Jest. Like, those guys are lyrically bananas. And yeah, I love Louis Nux, his album from... I used to listen to heaps of old school New Zealand hip hop for some reason, so I like that guy. He's a bit of a wordsmith. And Rakim, yeah, I love that guy.
The God.
The God MC. Yeah, that's like 4. I love those guys. Like from Australia, I love Mantra. I love that guy's lyrics.
Yeah, dope. Also, rest in peace.
Esso, I love Esso. Esso. When I heard Bliss and Esso's first album, it blew my mind, and nothing has, come near it after
Yeah, right. Really?
Yeah.
I should probably check that out.
the first one, man. It's dope.
That's why I think these conversations are important, right? Because so much stuff goes up. Time just keeps on going, right? Like, dope projects will get dropped, and if they're not picked up by the mainstream, then they'll just eventually get forgotten,
Yeah.
So it's like we need to talk to each other, talk to the old heads in different scenes in different cities to like discover those classics. Just trying to get these levels a bit nice. How are you dealing with that mic stand? Is it giving you shit?
I'm holding it.
Is it alright?
I like it.
All right. Sweet. Cool. So like KRS-One type shit. That's like your kind of wheelhouse.
Yeah, boom bap kind of. It's slower feel, like anything between about 80 and 95 BPM. That's my jam.
Yeah. Dope. Nice. So who else are you working with at the moment?
Like, I'm trying to find, like-minded people, and going out there. I give my CDs out at the gigs, and sometimes like Ruka messaged me like about 3 years ago. The week after I gave it, he said, let's do a collab, and I love that guy. He's always been someone I can bounce stuff off, and when I'm going fucking loco, he's always been like the voice of reason and nah, Stones, like, don't do that, like, and because I have all these crazy ideas, right, and we're like the yin and the yang, like I'm probably the hecticest guy that he knows, but for some reason we can collaborate.
Right. What do you think it is that helps you guys meet? Like,
well, I think it was a God job. The reason why I went to the open mic on that night, and I saw him get up, first or second or third, and just kick this like freestyle, and he went to a really vulnerable place. Like, I was rapping about his high school and his hoodie, and totally like off the top, and I could tell that he just was freestyling and wasn't afraid to like be exposed, but he made it. He fucking rhymed it at the end, and I thought, should do a collab with this guy because he speaks from the heart, and he's not just about material stuff and like bullshit, and he's still like that.
Yeah, dope. It's like when there's good meaning behind it, but there's also the skill level to back it up.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that? Bit of interference. So we're recording from Brunswick at the moment. You can probably hear a bit of car noise in the background. That's just because we're in these streets. Cool, man. So what's been going on in your life lately? What do you get up to? What's a day in the life of Old Man Stones? Who are you, bro?
I haven't been producing beats and making beats in my, at home for the last year and a half. I've really just been trying to, find a balance and get myself fucking like sane on some sort of medication. Getting through the lockdown, and 2020 fucking was like, sent me bananas. Like, everyone's telling me I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I'm just like running around the streets drinking coffee all day long, like basically trying to get in arguments with the Met cops, and like, who are you to tell me to wear a fucking mask and all this bullshit, and it was frustrating, and but in that, like, I got a lot of exercise, and on the train I'm listening to some instrumentals and writing some lyrics in my notes in my phone, and then I'll come and record rough rough ideas, and so I've got like 16 bar verses over about 6 or 7 different beats that I can lay down, when I want to, and just going over them in my head, and then I can take out lyrics here and there, and it's a different process, sort of making hip hop to then collabing with other musicians, guitarists, keyboardists, that kind of thing, and you can kind of do it anywhere, and everyone has their different way, and then I've got beats on the computer I can sift through and be like, oh, that will fit with that, and because like when I make a beat, it will have a structure, an intro, enough for a 16 bar or 8 bar, and then an interlude, and then so when I'm writing a rhyme, I'll try to make it 16 bars, 8 bars, 12 bars, 20 bars.
Nice. So, do you want to talk more about lockdown? What that was like? Because I think a lot of people will watch this that weren't in Melbourne, and a lot of people only really saw mainstream media coverage of that period of time, and I think a lot of people overlook the long-term effects of that government strategy, right? So I think it is, for people that are up for talking about it, I think it's people's like anecdotal experiences of that time are valid,
I think it's the long-term effects just people arguing with one another all the time. It definitely, I don't know what the strategy was, but it definitely separated people and caused division, and felt like it was kind of me against the world, and even now, people saying, "Oh, just wait 2 more weeks, everything's going to go back to normal." James, and it still hasn't really gone back to normal, has it?
What are the changes that you like? The long-term effects that you like? The changes, what are the changes that you've noticed since before lockdown, since before pandemic to now? What's the things that haven't gone back to normal?
Oh, people would just think I'm a conspiracy theorist, but the QR codes, like I didn't want to do them because I thought they'd just put me on, on house arrest, which was what was happening, and everything has sort of seemed to go digital and electronic with the money and the cash, and maybe that's a good thing, could be convenient, but the time it was happening, I didn't like it. I'm pretty old school. I don't want to have to take my phone everywhere, look at my phone 20 times a day. Like, it's really distracting. It's hard enough making music as it is, let alone all these different distractions and like, maybe some people, but for someone who's kind of all over the place as it is, I need to simplify my life and not add more complication to it.
Yeah. For real. Yeah, I think that's a big part of why we kind of connected, because we both have like mental health shit that we deal with, and I think for both of us, those things are like the priorities, right, in our lives. Would you say that, like managing your mental health?
Well, I'm always working on self-improvement. I don't really consider myself to be mentally unwell. I'm on the ball, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think
I got my shit together.
I think you're killing it, but I think that's because it's a focus of yours.
Yeah. Well, actually, kind of trying to run around like fixing your mental health and being your own doctor, and fucking around with supplements and medications and this and that actually can be a problem unless you kind of crack the code and get the balance. Like, I'm just looking for like the right combination so I can make music. Really, I don't really want to be worrying about my mental health all day long, and
right. But like, yeah, that's fair. But I, just from my perspective, like, we connected because like I was like, do you want? Because I'm into qigong meditation, and I guess what you call self-improvement, I call managing my mental health.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's the same thing, sort of. But like, for people, I think that already were like taking responsibility for their own lives, and seen through that, the system, to realize that no one's ever going to save you, and you have to, I think we both kind of found God, right, in the last few years.
Yeah.
And like kind of shifted our priorities. I think that was an alienating time, I think, for people like us, because everyone else was being convinced to like rely on this authority that apparently all of a sudden cares about your health. You know what I mean? When we know from experience that that's not true.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
The government wants to help you, Jimmy. Like, are you fucking serious? The school teachers wanted to help me as well. Look what happened.
Yeah, right. What's your story of that?
Oh, just, going to school. Like, yeah, I was ridiculed all the way through fucking primary school and high school for not being able to sit and fucking, like, read and then write about it for 8 hours a day, which maybe 80% of the, people can do. And I don't know why they didn't pick it up earlier. Like, not everyone can do that. And then, just try harder. Just have a detention. And being ridiculed by, but the teachers probably didn't know. They're just, like, trying to get their money and fucking go home to their families. Like,
yeah, exactly. But that's it, right? I remember that feeling, man, at school, trying to figure out, does this teacher actually care about the outcome, or are they just, like, doing it because it's their job? And I think, I don't know, for me, intention always matters,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I'm undiagnosed dyslexic, and I remember when I went to intermediate school, I never progressed in the spelling level or whatever that we had in our thing. We were supposed to progress, and I just I'm a rapper. I write all the time, and my spelling is still really bad. Like, my instinct for spelling is really bad. I can, like, if I've written a word 100 times, then I'll know how to spell it. But if I've never spelt it, I'm just guessing,
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that feeling of being told, like, you just need to try harder. And it's like, yeah, we're not all capable of the same things, but like those people can't write the shit that I can write.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I can pick up the bass guitar and work out, listen to the radio and work out the notes in about, 10 seconds. Just from, listening. But I suppose I'm an auditory learner and yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. Which one's which one? Can you just talk for a sec?
Yo, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, my experience with that as well as an adult was, man, I just spent my like 20s like doing protest, like doing political activism, doing for the environment and for social justice and stuff. And I knew from experience that the government doesn't give a fuck about us, you know what I mean? And so many people that I used to chill with somehow just like decided that in this case they actually know best. And it's like, man, I sat in a tree in the forest and watched them bulldoze the rainforest, like I feel like even if they did have good intentions, they're not capable of knowing what's best for us, right? Because they're not us, they don't know us.
Yeah, we should talk about some music, man.
That's fair. Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Production, sampling.
Yeah, tell me about your process, because I'm not really a producer.
I mean, I'm fairly old school. I love to sample old records or CDs from, Dixon's Bargain Bin, rip them and, chopping up the audio, making a loop or something that I like, and, programming some drums behind that. I like to use acoustic sounding drums in my production rather than something out of a sample pack that's been over compressed, and and a lot of these stuff on the CDs and the tracks. Listening back now, I'm like, I actually used to play my own bass line, so just plugging the bass guitar into the interface, playing that, and like making it sort of a structure, so it's something to write to, and not overdoing it, not overcomplicating it, not trying to find more samples, more melodies, more ideas. Just creating a vibe and a beat, and then like bouncing it and making lots and lots of beats and picking the ones I like, writing to them, showing them to my friends. Hey, you want to do a verse on this? I like that, and then recording. So like writing and rapping into the booth and recording it, and
Yeah. So a big part of your musical, like, you like collaboration, right? It's like a big part of why you want to make music.
I like collaborating with people, but I don't want to sell my beats. Partly because I can't be bothered making a website and all that kind of thing. But it's made me bitter, like collaborating with people and working on like full length EPs with people who come over and they're sort of your friend, and I'm just like, I just want to make beats and do. I love doing the process, right? Recording and doing it, and then you fucking finish like a bunch of tracks, and like no one understands what kind of work goes into making a fucking sick hip hop track. Like it's a lot of pre-production and digging through crates to find a good sample, and like then these guys come over and rap, and they're your friends, and you finish fucking full length EPs and say okay, and then like never hear from them again. It's like people have, I don't want to bang on like an angry old man, but like people have other agendas that they want to make. They're coming over and using your studio because you've got a mic, or and making these tracks, and I never fucking release them. Like I fall out with the person, not like intentionally, but just I've got heaps of fucking tracks that I never even put out just because.
Because you don't want to because why?
I will put them out eventually, but it's just left me really bitter working with rappers who come around. I mean, like come around and pretend to be your friend, and then you fucking do it, and then they fucking stooge you somehow, and it's like, oh, they think that because they. It's just the amount of time and effort and love and heart and soul that goes into like making these tracks, and then I suppose I'm learning now from that's a lesson for me, and learning from it, and now I'll just find someone I like and do like one track or a collab and see where that goes, rather than
I feel you.
And it's funny, I was talking to another guy at this beat battle thing the other night on the weekend, and he's basically telling me the exact same story. And like he said, oh, like I've worked with this guy, I've known him for 20 years, and we've got a bunch of, tracks we worked on, and then I never hear from him. And this other producer who lives in Geelong telling me basically what I've been fucking like, I'm not pissed off anymore, but yeah.
What do you think people are... What's the, why are they making music, do you think, if they're not really...
Well, someone told me 2 years ago about, hip-hop and the spirit of hip-hop, and hip-hop, like, saying, oh, okay, I've got the spirit of hip-hop living within me. Like, I do it for the love, and there's something in me that's just going to keep making beats and doing this until I die, regardless of if I get famous or recognition or anything like that. But hip hop is such a massive genre, right? It's like there are a lot of people making hip hop who fucking are doing it for the fame or other reasons, and it's like now I think you can see you're beginning to see through these artists coming up and like rapping about bling, and it's like that's not what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it because of music and creativity.
Like KRS once said, I don't have no gold chain around my neck. I don't need it because I got your respect.
Yeah, well, I'm not even really getting any respect, but I'm still doing it. Like,
yeah, but you know what I'm saying. That's KRS-One saying.
KRS-One, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's crazy. And you're right. I have just discovered this. For me, my previous life was like doing like activism, social justice, and environment work. and Bernie now. And then for me, rap music is like my savior. I honestly feel like hip hop saved my life, and I just have so much love and appreciation for the culture and the founders of the culture. And it's like me being blinded by, I don't know, man. I've just been ignorant and naive and just had this assumption that everyone in rap was really like had a love for it. And realizing that that's not the case. Like, yeah, helping people out in different ways to you, but helping people write stuff and then having them just kind of discard you. It's like, oh man, that fucking hurts, man. Like, you understand. It's like I understand why there's diss tracks now. You know what I mean? Like, why that's such a big part of hip hop, you know? Because it's like, I feel like I'm not into violence, you know, but I do think we need to have some sort of recourse when there's injustice, you know. So for me, it's like writing diss tracks to try to, you know, if you feel like someone's got less skill than you, but they've used you, then if you can assert dominance through your skill, and I think that's what makes hip hop dope. That it's like overall, hopefully over in the long term, it lets the people with the most skill rise to the top, you know.
Yeah.
If they assert themselves.
Well, I mean, I just want to say, like, having millions and millions, like, how skillful and good your music is doesn't necessarily translate to how many likes and fans and followers and people are getting into it.
Right.
Like that guy Chester P I was talking about before, who's in, you know, probably in my top 5. I reckon he's kind of on par with like Eminem, pretty
like
much.
skill level wise.
Yeah, but he's, you know, been homeless and fucking struggles to pay the rent like most of the time. So.
And that easily could have been Eminem. Eminem just happened to meet Dr. Dre. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying taking anything away from Eminem. That guy's
no, neither. But like Eminem, that's what I'm saying. Like Eminem's really skillful. Chose just to pee. Eminem happened to make it. You know what I mean? Because of the timing, basically, and he put himself out there more or whatever. But do you know what I mean? It can be random. I think that's it's a good message for artists. You know that like what like I feel like people should do it because they love it. And then you win either way. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I mean, like, no one really teaches hip hop. Like, there aren't really schools for that. So it's always just kind of making, I suppose, you know, knowing someone else who does it and collaborating like that. And, I don't know why other people. People write raps because it's cool, and you know, gonna get up on stage and get. Yeah, people probably do it for popularity, right?
Right. No, but I'm saying, what do you think the right reasons are? Like, what's the for longevity? Because obviously you're an artist that's been like active for a long period of time.
But I'm not really making fucking shitloads of music either. Like, I just sort of doing it like...
I got 3 physical products of you right here, you know, and I know you've done more stuff than that. That's more work than a lot of people put out in their lives.
Okay, so... Yeah, for me, I find inspiration through, like, listening to the radio, listening to other music, all sorts of music that's not commercial radio, like PBS, Triple R, classical channels. I'll be looking for inspiration, and I can't just sit in front of the computer for a month and force a fucking track or an EP. That's why I've been going around, and I know things will come to me. Like, when I'm not thinking about, when I'm not like seriously trying to think about music and production, I have all these other ideas that come to me. Like, it's
so having something else that you love doing, or some other routine besides making music, is important for making music.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's actually a big part. I think that's what helped me with my music through meeting you, was that like you got me out of the house every now and again. We'd go to the park and do some qigong and stuff, because I was just so focused on putting my album out that I was kind of like suffocating.
Yeah, you can't force it.
Which is hard, right? When you're being impatient, like how to know how much to push and how much to like chill. Balance. Got
to find the balance, man. But some people
easier said than done.
Some creative people are like obsessive and
some.
I'm actually, I'm fucking fully obsessed. I'm thinking about beats when I'm not making beats. Yeah.
Right. But Sam, I think you can't be a creative in this era if you're not obsessed. Well, maybe unless there's some other.
Yeah, some people are obsessed and they can actually channel that and focus it and sit down and finish stuff. But for me, I'm quite restless. I like to get out and move around. And that's when basically I'm obsessed because I'm thinking about stuff for the studio more when I'm fucking out of the studio than when I'm in the studio, really.
Right. That's dope. So do you get like? So you hear a sample and you get like a concept for a song in your head, or?
I'll hear stuff on, the radio and Shazam it, and then I have a list of things that I can sample and ideas. Like I've got, millions or lots of things that I could sample. There's more samples than you can actually make beats out of, right?
That exist.
Yeah. Say if you're going to make 100 tracks in your life and there's fucking thousands of things you could sample.
Millions.
That's the beauty of hip hop, right? It's never ending. There's always other stuff you can sample
and new stuff being made constantly.
Yeah.
That's what I love about sampling. It's like when people flip a sample, it's like, it's like reflecting society back on itself. It's like, this sample exists because of society, and now we're making something new out of it. I think that's like people act like it's stealing, but I think it's not. I think it's like this similar to like when like rich people in art galleries choose paintings for a show. What's that called? I can't think of the word, but you know what I mean. Like that's a skill, right? Choosing what to choose. Like, choosing the right things.
Yeah,
is important. Like that's kind of huge. Choosing who to steal from, even for
a lot
influences.
And that's the thing with sampling. Like, well, you want things. Talking about production again, you want things that haven't already got. I like to find minimal samples, just like breaks and intros and outros that don't have all the bass and the drums already going, and they're kind of, because then I want to add that stuff and add to it.
Right, layers.
Yeah.
There's levels to this shit.
Yeah, probably. You wrote yourself a manual, some shit like that.
Dope. How do you feel about battle rap?
I like watching it. Well, I used to like watching it. I don't watch it all the time. Yeah. It's skillful. I don't like it when they do the a cappella. I don't know when they started doing that. I used to like it when they're doing it over hip hop instrumentals. Yeah. But then when I saw
like
them
actual freestyle as opposed to written.
Freestyle or written, like right. not writing the whole thing, but obviously people have got bars they can weave into their disses. But I like it when it's on a beat because I'm like musical. I want it to be on time.
I feel you. I agree. I also like the a cappella stuff because it's like allows for new pockets and stuff like that, and it also I think it requires more skill because you have to be entertaining without a beat. But yeah, both are good.
Yeah, and battle rap doesn't always have to be angry, I suppose. Like, I've watched people battling and kind of get too angry, and someone with more skill will come up and beat them, I suppose.
Like someone that's more composed.
Yeah, you gotta keep it together, man. Can't. Yeah, like I've seen on YouTube some battles ending in like physical fights and stuff, right?
Is that Disaster versus Math Offer?
Yeah, someone waxed talking about some shit and then yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, I can speak to that, man. Every single time I've battled, no, not every single time, but most times I've battled, the dudes wanted to fight me. Which is obviously a compliment. It's also fucking frustrating, and it's just like I feel it's the story of my life. Like this is going to sound egotistical, but it feels like if you're arguing with people that are stupider than you, then they're always going to resort to violence because they can't.
What do they say? Arguing with a fool makes two.
Yeah, for real, man. I don't know if I stole the saying or made it up, but what did I think of? It's like if you're arguing, you're losing. You know what I mean? If you're like on someone else's level, then that's your loss,
I thought you said just before you could someone would be having a go at you and just like reading all this stuff and just leaving it.
Yeah, I'm trying. That's my yesterday. That was like a
Tell me what happened.
Well, it's a kind of a long story, but this dude sent me. There was this dude that I randomly friended. I randomly friend people on Facebook sometimes, just to. Oh shit! This is still recording. Just to see what's out there, you know, and then it's always interesting. And then this dude who I didn't know, but we were Facebook friends, just kept sending me links to his fucking blog, and I wouldn't respond. Every time I was like, "That's annoying. I'm not responding." And on like the fifth or sixth one, I'm like, "Bro, can you stop?" Like, and then he just got into this back and forth with me, and I left it. I blocked him, and then I just finished my blog, so I unblocked him and sent him the link to my blog to demonstrate how annoying it is when someone you don't care about or know just sends you a link with no context. Like, it's rude, you know? It's like being a Jehovah's Witness, just knocking on people's door.
True.
And then he just sent me, like, fucking a few blocks of, like, the worst things that he could think of saying to me. And I just actually didn't respond, and it felt good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You weren't feeding into the anger and the negativity, man.
Well, what I realized was that kind of what we just said is that, like, I don't think he's very smart, but I think he thinks he's really smart. And that's the worst person to argue with, you know? Because whatever you say, like, they can't comprehend what you have to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they won't get it.
And the shit they're saying is just, like, not worth responding to. And in my old self, I used to feel like I needed to tell someone that. Like, you're an idiot or whatever, you know? But it's like, they're not going to believe me, and it's just going to take them further down, you know, like a defensive stance where they cement the idea that they hate me, you know? And it's like, there's nothing to be gained here.
Yeah, I try not to argue with people on the internet or even talk too much. I'm pretty old school. It's like if someone wants to talk to me, they can ring me.
This is true. I do think that Facebook and like the society's move towards communicating so much through just text is kind of a psyop. You know, I think it's a very effective way of dividing people because it's just so easy to misrepresent nuances. Or you could have a flippant statement that you'd say in real life, and someone would be like, "Oh, okay," and you type it, and it's like it's published. You know what I mean? It's like an official statement where everything's taken exactly literal. You know, you're expected to use all the correct words. Like you said, jealous instead of envy. I'm mad at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't get into it, man.
Yeah, it's something I'm working on, man. I am very like prone to engaging in conflict because of how my brain's wired, I think. Which is why I like battle rap, you know. I feel like battle rap is like the one place where I'm allowed to be who I am, you know.
All these people want to fight you afterwards, though, man. That's a compliment.
It is a compliment, and also like, man, I did a battle in Brisbane where this guy like choked or whatever, and I made a lot of good connections through that, you know. That's who.
You stole his fan base, man.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah. Basically.
All these people were blowing fucking steam up his ass saying, yeah, go on, take out D-Rad, he's just a sheep shagger or whatever, and then you came and fucking destroyed him and stole his fans, man.
That's
cool.
it, man. That's it. Cool, man. And we should probably wrap it up, and we've gone for about an hour, I think.
Wrap it up,
so, is there anything else you want to say or mention to the people?
I'm good, man.
You're content?
I'm content, man.
Content.
I'm relaxed.
Have you been to the temple lately?
Oh, the temple? Oh, yeah, I like going to the temple in Springvale and just taking some time out, sitting there, light some incense, you know, take a few deep breaths, and I took D-Rad there. It's a really beautiful place. It's probably, it's the best kept secret, man. Just go there and I should probably head up to the temple, man, and just take my shoes off and look at the nuns and the monks and forget about fucking, you know, like the traffic. Try to settle my thoughts down, and maybe that fucking next idea for the next classical, you know, weave its way into my mind through meditation or whatever. And yeah.
Word. Word. I feel that, man. I think that's a good note to leave it on, bro. Appreciate you coming through, man.
No worries, man. Cheers.
Peace.